Hi, I'm Lisa Fleming.
And I'm Jenny Chu.
Don't try this at home.
You forgot we were watching Slide America.
Hi, I'm Lisa Fleming.
And I'm Jenny Chu.
And you're watching Slide America.
We just want to let you know. Hi, I'm Jenny Chu.
And I'm Lisa Fleming.
And you're watching Slide America.
And we just want you to know.
To keep it on the streets.
Silly. Keep it off the street.
That's what I meant.
So many things, it's so real. She has seen so many things, it's so unreal. She has been almost everywhere and tasted everything. She has been Teresa's birth who could conquer everything.
The Atlanta area, when I first started, was in 03. We had our first event, and there was a few people that were showing some good skills, and there's a few that just pulled away from the crowd, but the rest are starting to catch up now. You know, a lot of them aren't into the illegal street sliding, for good reasons, But the ones that have stuck with it all these years, really starting to show their skill and really getting the hang of it. And I'm really impressed with the Atlanta scene.
I guess we've been doing it out here for 2.5, 3 years now almost, and it's been getting pretty big. Started just little small events back at Turner Field in 2004, and slowly been rising up to where we've got pretty big competitive events out here. Got a lot of drivers from Atlanta that are getting really big, doing a lot of national series races and stuff like that. So,
like I said, it's gone from something that was really nothing about 3 or 4 years ago, and now it's just exploded. I mean, we don't even have to travel out of town to see at least one local event a month.
Up until now, it's blown up probably 3 times, 4 times to what it was. Before you'd go to an event, there'd be 20 people, and 2 of them maybe knew what they were doing, and everyone else was just learning. And now, you go to an event and it's 60 cars, 40 of them know what they're doing, and 20 of them are learning. So it's kind of flopped in 3 years. So it's just out of control.
I can remember just 3 years ago, there were absolutely no events here, and the only way to get any seat time was to either go out on the street or to travel to another state to go to events. And now there's so many different organizations here throwing events that, I mean, it's almost hard sometimes to make all of them. So Atlanta's definitely grown.
The first time when I drift on the streets behind like parking lot, like the small space, just doing the donut whatever. And now they're throwing a lot of competition in Atlanta.
When the first Formula D come to Atlanta, that's why the people start know about drifting. And since 2004 to now 2007, it's a lot of people get improved. It's quick, it's really quick, and people in Atlanta just kind of, they learn quick. They good.
Just the culture, I mean, the style. There's a lot of badass looking cars coming out of Atlanta. I think Atlanta is definitely holding its own as far as style, and drifting, very aggressive. There's a lot of aggressive drivers coming out of Atlanta, and when you want to see a good show, you want to see aggressive drivers.
Saw you doing it, went out to a couple of events. You actually got me to go to an event, and to see you guys drive like that at that kind of speed was pretty freaking incredible. I was very suspect of what was going to happen there. But you guys put on a pretty damn good show, and I did not do nearly as well as I thought I should have done. I figured if I've been smoking tires like a redneck going slow for that long, I could do it at speed. I could not do it at speed. It's been a hell of a ride for us. Lots of really cool people I've met. You drift mechanic guys have been quite defined. Very surprising for a group of young guys to be as committed as y'all are. I was taken aback, to say the least.
Drift Mechanics was started a few years back. My best friend, Human Mazafari, and I kind of established it, sort of out of a lacking at the time for an Atlanta area drift team. And started off real small, just a couple of close friends, and over the past 3 years it's grown into something that I never ever thought it would grow into.
They have a huge presence at just every event,
Yeah, we've been running it strong since about 2010 right now. We keep it real. All the girls you want, all the cars you can't have. Was that backwards?
I mean, I got rid of my cable. I got rid of my internet. Started eating ramen noodles on a daily basis. I went from a good 130 pounds down to like 110 pounds. All for the love of putting tires on the car, just so I can go out and have fun in it. And then, you cut costs just to go out there and have fun. And it's addiction. It's worse than any drug addiction you could probably come up with. Girlfriends would look at me crazy as we'd come up to use tire piles behind buildings. And like, I'd be going through them, and they'd be like, "Why are you doing that?" Because I'm addicted to burning tires. I can't get over it. It's my passion.
So I mean, it is the most important thing in my life. It sort of came along at a time when I needed something to come along, and it's completely changed my life, and I definitely feel like I owe drifting a little bit because of that. I mean, it's just been the greatest thing. It's been a crazy ride.
She gonna die tonight, bitch! You're going down!
What's up, girl? What it is, Mo? J Mill. It's your boy, how I mean. You know what I mean. We fresh on the scene. Been here for years. Yeah. And it goes a little something like this. This is a wake-up call for y'all who ain't know. Maybe you hear the 88 on the radio. Maybe you saw it at an LOA show. All I know is we're coming and we're ready to go. Hold up, my name is Ben. Let me introduce my friends. We steady building with some words to spin. This is J Mill. This is my brother Lane Grip. Stay still. We gon' get into some funkiness. Going on, all y'all gon' be bumping this. Check the floor on the beat, boy, pump this. Keep your tongue on your teeth if you come with this. Y'all know y'all really one. So forth the force that arrive provide another measure to bring it together instead of heading in the wrong direction. Mine is the affection, stress with each breath and there's no reception. Bro, we protest it, holding the tool for profession. See the progression, no there's no stepping, yo we go repping. Checking the mic and if it's right, best believe we bless it. Take it to your session and make it a standard. Brand about the selective Atlanta thing.
Since the very beginning back in high school, every time it rained, my phone would ring in the middle of class, and it would be my friend who might have been 2 classrooms over telling me that it's raining, and we would just walk right out of class and go slide. So much fun. Those are the best days ever. Everyone starts with the crappiest stuff and just works up from there. I started with a $400 S13, cut the springs and welded the diff, started at D-Day 1. Now I've got a real job, and I can make some money, get real parts. I used to donate plasma twice a week for like a year and a half. Half that money went to feeding me and the other half went to buying parts for my car, usually to get it running again. We always just hang out, go slide. It's a lot of fun. There's not a whole lot of competition here. That's the way I think it should be. It's a lot of fun to just go hang out and slide. Have some fun.
There's definitely, there's a lot of really willing people around here. There's a lot of really cool guys, a lot of really, dedicated drivers. A lot of people who really give a shit about the sport and, really, really care about, being out there every time there's an event and, nobody sleeps the night before. Everyone's all working on cars and, I'm sure you guys know how that rolls. It's the same. It's really good to see that kind of dedication, even in a spot where, we don't have events every month. We don't have events every 3 weeks. We don't have events every 6 weeks. We get like maybe one here, one there. So it's like when one shows up, everybody that really cares about, what the sport's all about, everybody just dives in.
Back in 2002, I think some of us started playing around in parking lots. I know over in Tampa, we didn't really hear of anybody else doing anything in Florida. So like I was saying before, we got bored with street racing and decided to try drifting. And we had found a parking lot behind an old builder square that seemed to be really good for what we wanted to do, especially when it was wet. So we'd go buy hoses, get buckets, and we'd pull water out of loading docks that was sitting there. We'd hook up hoses to lines and open up the lines and spray the parking lot down and start to practice. And the funny thing is that myself, Matt Casalo, Bill Sherman, we all started in the same parking lot, playing around the same way. If it wasn't a rainy day, we'd make it wet, And the funny thing is, we started to see a transition of the people that we used to go street racing with were now coming to watch us drift. So Wednesday nights, instead of going way out on a causeway and racing, we're all in the back of a parking lot trying to keep quiet and not bring attention from the cops to us. That's where we started off in Florida.
We work here in Juca Racing. We're right here in Orlando, Florida. I've been working here for like 2 years. It started out just as like a small parts business. It just kind of kept growing. And Ken Harrison, the guy that runs it, he started being like, well, okay, so we're putting all this money into advertising, cool magazine ads and forum banners or whatever, and then it just kind of to be like, let's do something funny with this money. Let's start a race team.
Looking on the sidelines before we went into Formula D for 2005, it was like you saw all these different faces. You saw Reese and Sam and all these other guys who were signed pro, Forsberg, and to go in and know that you had to go up against these guys all season was really like setback. You wondered how these people were going to act, how you'd be perceived. You're going from something that's always been fun in parking lots and practice events to the pro level. And the surprising thing was when we got there, we found out that everyone was just like us. Everyone had the same attitudes. All the teams worked together to help each other get out there. If someone's car broke, somebody had a part, or someone let somebody else borrow a car. and that same kind of spirit was there. It offset us a little bit with our local group because all of our friends we had locally, all the people we used to drive with, looked at us differently. They thought we were on a higher tier. They kind of ousted us a little bit. The attitudes changed towards us, but they didn't realize that we were just out doing the same thing, just with a different group of people. And if anything about Formula D, if there's anything I'll ever take away from it, is just the amount of friendships you have and the camaraderie and the spirit of the sport that really is there. And through times where things change and corporations come in and companies come in and they try to be too aggressive and they try to push the rules too hard and they try to throw their weight around, how the sport will react and protect itself, and how people with bad attitudes will be pushed out of the sport. And it's just, if you can't go and have a good time, you shouldn't be in drifting in the first place, pro or just for fun.
Yes, we have another song. What kind?
Like, yes! But the Cypress fucked up. Yes! Alright, we're out. Let's go again. Woo! Alright, hey, I'm gonna try to push up a little bit. She's spinning. Keep the wheel locked. What? Keep the wheel locked. Go! Check this out. This is a kid that pretty much broke my in-car drift, whatever, right along Cherry, won, and just happens to be the first kid I ever hit my fucking car with. Fucking awesome, right? Yeah. Let's go again, baby. Oh.
We got a lot of people that are into drifting here, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. But basically we started out, in parking lots before we had events at night, just a bunch of friends clowning around in stock ass cars with nothing. But ever since DG Trials came out with events and stuff like that, it's gotten a lot better. We got a lot of people going to events, practicing, it's growing, but we need more venues. We need more, sponsors to come out here and help get us more venues, because until then, everybody's just going to keep doing it on the streets because it's free.
A lot of people have really beat up cars like that, and I don't know. People do donuts. It's really cool. We pride ourselves on our donut abilities. You would think that it's not really drifting, but it is. First gear. I don't know, dude. there's a lot of young kids that are really into it around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, there's no mountains, so it really sucks. Industrial parks, random roads, neighborhoods, schoolyards, I don't know.
Over here though, it's radically different. I mean, we've got Bill Sherman in there, Rob Fleming. Is Matt back over here?
Yeah.
We've got Matt Bag Bass with his dirty ponytail. They're all over here. And then we've got like Funk and some of the other guys. I can't remember their names because I just moved here and I'm horrible with names. If we're going out of town for an event, everybody wants to go along and help. They don't want to like be like, oh man, I want to go so I can meet people to get sponsors. It's like, hey, I want to go help and be part of the team. They have a real good concept over here of like a team and working together and kind of a reflective improvement. Like if you hang out with somebody, you'll kind of grow off of them as far as your driving. And everybody down here asks for advice, and it's really a radically different approach than some of the Texas guys do.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I was out at the street races while everybody was drag racing. I was, my Corolla had a limited slip diff in its stock, so I was always dumping the clutch and doing stupid shit, just trying to be cool, I guess. Since my car was slow, I couldn't really drag race anybody, so I was just out there horsing around, and I met up with my buddy Rob and Matt, and went over to his house one night, and we started watching options videos and all that good stuff. And I was like, wow, this car's got a really big cult following in Japan. It's like a real big cult car. And I had it for 3 or 4 years before I even knew what the hell it was. Like, I knew it was a GTS and it had the limited slip and the disc brakes and the 4AG in it, but I didn't know what a cult car it was in Japan, and that these people don't throw those cars away at all in Japan. I mean, you can't find them. They're still like, if you see one in a junkyard, you found gold. So I just go out in the rain, the only time I could really slide my car, and went out and practiced, and that's where it kind of went from there. I look back at when we first started and first kind of did the whole No Ants thing, and it was a lot of fun because it was just a bunch of friends out there on a Saturday night when it was raining or dry, or just out there screwing around, just shenanigans and having fun, and kind of wish it would go back to that a little bit, kind of miss it.
So where do you hope drifting will take you in the future?
Take me?
Yeah?
Take me to hell. No, I don't know. Somewhere where I can drive fast cars in cool places. That's at least a 40-mile-per-hour bumper.
What's up, man?
what's going on?
Not much. What time is it?
It's 12 in the afternoon or something.
12 in the afternoon or something?
Yeah, I don't remember. No, dude, it's like 6 o'clock in the
6
morning.
6 o'clock in the morning? What are you up to?
I was taking a leisurely drive around the town, you know.
Leisurely drive around the town?
Your end's fucking sitting down on the side.
Yeah.
What'd you bust?
Subframe.
No. It probably got cracked when I ran over that curve. Did you hit the curb? Oh, it's well, like last week. No.
Policia.
You're allowed to be taping, right?
No?
Videotape them, you will have more so. Alright, everybody start putting some ID. Keep your hands so I can see them.
Over there. Drive that Nissan. Drive the Nissan.
There's 17 Nissans.
This Nissan right here.
Can we turn this shit off real quick? Hello! It's yellow. Turn the music off 1 sec. Alright. I don't know if everybody's seen the guys out here with the cameras. Is Andy Sapp and Joey Redmond. They drove all night from Tampa and they came up here. They're doing a documentary on drifting. It's called Slide America. When I heard about this, I called them up and I was like, look, if you guys are doing a documentary, you absolutely have got to come to this little town in Jersey called Englishtown. This place is where drifting started on the East Coast as far as I'm concerned. And this place is one of the reasons why I am and a lot of the other drivers that are doing very well in American drifting are where we are today. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your support. Matt Petty, you've done amazing things out here. And I just want to thank everybody. It means so much to all of us. Thank you.
Well, we've been running these events for like 4 years now. I approached Englishtown with a good friend of mine, Tony Angelo from Drift Alliance, and we were like sick of driving on the street and, you know, getting in trouble and stuff, so we approached Englishtown, and they were like, we wanted to just do one event, and they were like, how about 9? And we freaked out and had our first season here, and you know, it was awesome. Met a lot of new friends who still come, and everybody was just super cool, and we've just been running them like that ever since, just rock and roll and having a good time and, you know, doing whatever.
Me and Forsberg are from the same town, Pennsylvania, and we decided, like, we didn't know anyone else in our area at all. It was in, like, I guess kind of like drifting and more like JDM tuning. I guess everyone was still in the Hondas and stuff back then. And we met Petty and his friends, and they all had like Corollas. They were all in the drifting and stuff. So we were like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we could start some drift events? And he was like, God, I've been talking about doing the same thing forever. So one thing led to another. We were hanging out all the time, and we set up a meeting with the owner of Englishtown, New Jersey, in I guess like December of 2 or maybe early 03. That was a big part of, I think, of everything that we all, I guess, stand for, and everything we come from is kind of based out of Englishtown, New Jersey events.
Englishtown to me is the place where, you know, we kind of put drifting on the map for the East Coast. It was where we first started running the organized events. It's the first time we had like real drifting practice. First time we met a lot of the guys from Drift Alliance that we still run with today, 4 years later. And it was also like right at the first time that we started taking drifting seriously.
My first drift event was D-Day 1 down in Florida. It was a DG Trials event that I went down to help Eric with. I went down with Eugene Chow and you know, tried to slide my car, realized how challenging it was. You know, I did road racing a lot. And definitely drifting was a lot more challenging than that. So I just kind of got hooked from there. I wanted to be able to do it. But up here, I'm still kind of new. But so far, you know, it seems to me like everybody knows each other. Everybody gets along really well. You know, it's a little more punk rock than Atlanta for sure.
I used to like fuck around a lot. Like me and my friends were into old muscle cars, so we used to like, you know, just slide around donuts and shit. And I got into drifting. I just heard about the events they were holding here, and I just kind of showed up one day about 3 years ago, and I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun, so I just kept showing up. I think it was kind of cool when I first started because I would basically show up and it'd be like the same, you know, group of people going out all the time. And now it's gotten a lot bigger, but you know, on the other side, it's also, you know, more events for us to do, more product support, more sponsors. I managed to pick up a few sponsors, so I guess I can't complain too much.
I look at Englishtown Raceway Park as the breeding ground for drifting on the East Coast. I mean, that's where myself, Chris, Tony, Angelo came out of. That's where we all met. Pretty much would probably be no Drift Alliance if there was no Englishtown. That's where we all met. That's where it all started for us at least, and for probably, you know, a good 90% of the drivers out on the East Coast. I mean, that was the first place where there was legal drifting on the East Coast. And it really started a fad and started, you know, a lot of tracks along the East Coast opening up their doors to allow drifting because, you know, just like snowboarding, we were the redheaded stepchilds of motorsport until, you know, things started getting good and the tracks realized that we do have half a brain and we can run events locally. But it's just so much fun. Like, it was just the raw grassroots of what drifting or skateboarding or motocross is like. Like, a lot of friends out hanging out and just beating the crap out of cars, and that's really where I think a lot of love and passion that I have for drifting came from is definitely Englishtown, New Jersey.
Every guy that comes here and, you know, just gives it his heart and soul and, you know, just keeps coming back month after month. And I think those guys are my heroes, man. The guys that go from nothing and then the next event they're ripping and, you know, they just keep progressing. Those are the guys that are my heroes. I can't really put it on one guy, you know what I mean? Because there's so many good drifters out there, you know, and then I get more excited watching the guys click and, like, get it. I like the little dudes, man. I like the guys that just give it their heart.
Second place, like a goddamn machine. Big Vasco, his boy deserves it, dude. He's been doing it for a long time. That was awesome. Good work, buddy. And the man who came in saying he's just done it for trophies. That's all he wants. There he is, third place, M.A. Bryan. Where's our winner? Right here. Here he is. This man crashed and destroyed the shit out of the front end of his car last event. And he came back, sucked it up like a man. That BMW, I thought that bitch was gonna catch on fire. It's all right. It has before, though. It has before. This is Dennis. Great work, dude. You did awesome. Good driving out there. Thanks for coming out. Now get the hell out of the way so the rest of these people can drive. Wrong way, Vasco.
In St. Louis, I mean, since we're in the middle, it's kind of slow, I guess you could say. And I mean, we have one event each month that we're supposed to have at Midnight Madness at Gateway. But I mean, besides that, there's not too many places that we can go that's legal. And we try to travel and go to as many things as possible. I mean, we have a good amount of people that would like to drift and stuff like that, but a lot of people here don't have the budget and don't have too much of a drive, and that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get more people to be interested in it by, I guess, spending more money on the better parts so that we can perform better, so that other people will want to get into it, you know.
The Midwest has actually picked up a lot more since we've actually promoted with Gateway, did the Midnight Madness thing. It started off really slow, really weak. Like I said, through our shop, we're trying to promote out-of-state customers. They're coming up from different areas. We're tuning their cars. They see what we're doing. They see that it can be really exciting, really fun. And I think that really helps, and people really want to get more involved. Once you start, it's just a bad addiction. It's worse than drugs. You just want to keep doing it. It's worse than gambling. Any kind of addiction that you could ever have in life, it's great. It's a great rush. Once you feel it, you want to master it. You want to keep going more and more aggressive. It's a great sport. I love it.
Good thing about America here is, like, you know, we can do drifting wherever, you know. Countryside road, parking lots and stuff like that, you know, those kind of background we don't get in Asia countries, because in Asia countries most of the place it's cops. Cops is the main thing. Yeah, so yeah, thank cops for making sure everybody's safe, but drifters need space. Yeah, we need more track, we need more opportunity for people to promote drifting, because drifting, we are trying to promote it, you know, get the sports going and also get to the track, that's for sure.
I think we've been working with Gateway a lot to try and help promote it. We have a Midnight Madness thing, and about 20 local car shows show up, and they basically they set up the K-Rail, let us do what we want, but we're looking for more organization and try and get more drifters, you know, to come in. We work a lot with Club FR, and, you know, just try and go up there, help promote it, so we can get it a little bit bigger here, you know.
I think the main thing that I like about drifting is, since it's not real big in the U.S. in general, I can be part of it, and it can be something special to me, because it's like everything that we do when I go and practice or when I go and try to, like, promote something, I feel like I'm having some kind of effect, as in, like, if it was like me trying to compete in drag racing, there's already so many people that drive Supras in drag racing, and so many people that drag race in general, that I guess I might be able to make a difference, but I guess the feeling of, like, accomplishment, you know, it wouldn't be there as much, because there's so many other people doing it.
This is federal property. Anything owned by the railroad is federal property. You're all trespassing, you're all driving reckless, and feds throw some shit down on you. I happen to be from the town just on the other side of the tracks, and I got neighbors saying, hey, who's acting a fool up there? Who's doing all that? Well, it ain't in Brooklyn, boys and girls. We'll go find out. Yeah.
Verizon Wireless 411 Connect. Cities and states, please.
Terminal Railroad, Illinois.
Sounds like a fax machine.
Do you speak fax?
No.
Now, press on, man. You didn't see me. Go on, have fun.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Hot dang, get out the lane, I came to do my thing. Bustin' and cutting, just let my nuts hang. Remember my name before I enter your frame. Y'all niggas get in the game like you bang, but can't hang with the nigga that flows like old breezes. The shows are so easy to get it or die when I'm spitting the line. The mind's not phenomenal, my DJ, keep beats with each crate. Main brain banging the beats in each state. Cheapskates selling they souls on eBay while I'm in the city like a big cheesesteak. Put your hands in the sky, set the roof for high. Burn a motherfucker down with the Santa Clara sand planet in the mainstream in between the underground. Got these motherfuckers ducking when I speak brass. James Brown slang, little man, get down. Been around the globe doing shows, and one thing I know ain't a place like home. Yeah, we up in the place with a shorty in a 45 tucked at the waist. Other hand in the sky, DJ bumping the bass. Playing trying to around on his neck and say, all the time, y'all time bomb killer, spit a rhyme raw. Never kick a line off beat, hold heat, O-D-O, no E, B-L, no E. Even if I don't breathe, I shall proceed. And continue to bang, eat the next upon the menu when I'm taking out the temple. I break the instrumental, whether hit you, reach you, or ninjutsu. When blue hit you, you will harm. Bitches in a place, get the fuck up off the wall. Tell the DJ not to play your song. I bang bang boogie, I be fucking up the pussy when I hit it in the hoodie, then I'm breaking it down. Wake in the morning till I stretch and I yawn. Wake up and get the newspaper off of my lawn like extra, extra. Read all about it. Hot shit, fucking you up, Russell, watch it. Hot shit, fucking them up, Russell, watch it. Hot shit, fucking you up, Russell, watch it.
Memphis scene, it's kind of small. It's like, it's all kind of still new here. So everybody's still learning, and so everybody helps each other out. So I think it's pretty cool because nobody is just the most awesome drifter around because we all just got started a year or two ago. So, you know, nobody's cocky. It's just having fun.
Forrest is pretty much the head of drifting around here. I never really knew what it was other than Initial D and old like option videos, and I met him through Memphis Racing Scene, and then later on they started like Traction Optional, that website, and then it started picking up around here, and then when Ronzo moved around, then they got the drift days going. Not too big, but it's interesting. It's fun to be in.
Well, I was in the Marine Corps and they sent me to Okinawa. I didn't want to go. Moan, groan, complain. Then I got there. Totally changed my life. It's an awesome place. I didn't really get into drifting at first, but I got big into rotaries and doing cars, tuning, stuff like that. Then later on, I started getting into drift and started building cars for that, and mostly wanted to do road racing, and tried for it took me about 3 years to finally get a job in Tokyo where I could go. And then when I got up there, I hooked up with some guys that maybe some people heard of called Hey Man. One guy, Robbie, he's doing Formula D now. We did a lot of autocross. They taught me a lot. Just went from there. We started hitting circuits and building the cars, and learned to speak a lot of Japanese and read magazines. And just, it was a good time. I just had about 4 years, or about 3.5 years there in Tokyo, and we did at least 2 circuits a month, and we did Gymkhana every month. So that was pretty much it. I've been eat up with it ever since.
When I was little, I always wanted to, whenever you like ride your bike or you had a go-kart or whatever, you always wanted to get it sideways. It was always, you know, like, oh man, it's gonna snap fishtail it or whatever. It was, I always loved doing that on the bike. Had a little go-kart, little model cars, play around, crash them and stuff, but everything was like sideways. And I was like, so basically it's the same thing, but on a bigger scale. It's just going sideways, but with a bigger toy, and you got more control of it, and faster, more smoke, bigger adrenaline rush, everything. It's a lot better.
And about, I guess it was last year when Randy moved back from Japan, I ended up meeting up with him at an autocross, and we were like, let's get some drift events going down here. And next thing you know, we're doing our own drift events, and we ended up going to a couple of Formula D events that year. It's pretty cool experience. Give you something to look forward to.
In Memphis, we don't really have organized street drifting, really. I mean, everyone kind of does their own thing, but we don't really do it much because with our low budgets and drift days every other month, we just try and get our cars ready for that. And it doesn't really help, I think. It doesn't really improve your skill as opposed to an event. You can learn one day at an event practice session, you can like learn 20 nights on the streets. It's so different.
Keep it in the track. That's the best advice I can give. But of course, you gotta get aggressive sometime and do it in the street.
You all by yourself.
Passenger, okay? Where'd he go?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I was alright.
No, I was looking up.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'll fix it up front. No big deal.
At least I get to work tomorrow still.
Hey, I asked 300 at the house, so he's complaining too much.
Damn.
It's funny.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, here you go. Here you go, Frog.
Frog, and get a piece of the concrete.
Oh, yeah, here. Heads up.
Drift scene in Houston here it's growing. You know, it's not as big as it should be, and you know, according to the population, we have a lot of people over here, but we're growing. You know, we're getting more people, you know, involved, and we got a couple of websites, you know, bringing people together. So it's growing. You know, I mean, it's not at the level where it should be, because we used to have really big venues over here like Drift Show Off. We used to have Formula D, and none of them come over here anymore. So we're trying to, you know, make it larger, organizing people, getting people out to events, stuff like that.
The grassroots scene, it's getting bigger. A lot of our local drivers who started out a little bit later than I did are starting to get better and better, and actually are better and better. And I think they're up to competition level on a higher levels. But still isn't where I'd like it to be. I mean, I'd like to see drifting be, I wouldn't say on the same level as other motorsports, but bigger than it is. But it's getting there. It's going to take a little while. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, so I understand that. And as long as we promote it well and promote it the right way, I think it's going to just get bigger from here.
And the other cool thing about the Grassroots Texas stuff is we drive a little bit differently. We have a lot of competitions down here, but I don't think that we drive in the sense that like Formula D or a lot of other people do, where it's a competition, which I don't really like competitions. I really think driving with the other driver is far, far cooler than looking for his mistakes and trying to capitalize on them or trying to pass. And Texas Grassroots is also about community. Everybody knows each other very well. Everybody's really cool. Everybody helps each other. We've got somebody else's car in Tyler's trailer right now being trailered across town because they wrecked it and they didn't have a way to get it back.
Houston, they got really fast entry speeds over here and whatnot, and the other thing is that all the drifters over here like stick together. We have pretty cool events, and we just rock out, man. We're just crazy fools over here, man. You'll see some Formula D drivers and D1 drivers out of Houston soon.
I am an active member of the Daily Drifter Association. I help out with Daily Drifter at every single event. I set up all the courses. I do my part to help drifting move in a direction that I would like.
I won't tell you not to street drift because it happens, it's going to happen. But just be careful out there. I started out street drifting, and I'm not going to be hypocritical and tell you not to do it. But just keep it safe and attend events. There's only so much you can learn on the street. Just keep it safe out there, and go to as many events as you can, because that's where you learn organized and get proper instruction too. So keep it safe.
But yeah, it's fun. Like drifting is badass, and it's just every time you get done, it's just like a rush. That's what I like it. Like I love it. It's a passion. Like I've already been through so many motors, so many cars, so much money, so much of my time. I should be in school. Fuck school, like just go out there and drift, go to every single event that I can. And I'm trying to make Houston a place like that, get more devoted people, because I don't think we have enough of that. I see other places like Arizona, Southern California, like even where you're from, Atlanta, you guys have big organizations, like everybody's together, so that's what we're trying to work on with Houston.
Conspiracy! What a good vibe, dude. That's awesome. All righty. Have a good night.
He used to tell me that my rhymes sound nice.
Creeping in the shadows, sleeping in the avenues, wherever you are, it's like everybody's mad at you for what you had to do, but you forgot to. Even though nobody caught you, got you in the wrong place at the right time. Usually it shows your face in the nighttime. Run away, it's not safe to be out alone. Keep your heart dark, trapped in the catacombs. Hear the knocking getting louder and louder. Nowhere to turn, no exit to get out. Whether in a crowd of thousands surrounding you, you found it. Right on your back, tracking and hounding you. Now you believe it must be something you did. But whether it is, you never deserve this. Disgrace that you feel in your eyes and tears. The rage and the guilt and the life it dealt you.
You can run, but you can't hide from me. I'm right behind you, right behind you.
it for this car.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. Physically, not mentally. Look at the little dog paw.
Fuck. He gets a close up with that. He gets to be famous.
Dude, I thought he went sideways.
It's time to haul ass out of here.
Grassroots drifting is, I would easily say, on its rise here in New Mexico. Drift Day, we did Drift Day 1 New Mexico in June, and we had 28 cars. In New Mexico, I think there was like almost 20. So we're starting to see the following come up here in New Mexico.
There's me and Gary, and and then there's a couple guys from Santa Fe, and then there's like a couple of guys that are scattered that don't really know anybody else. I know it's really weird because the scene out here is so dispersed, and it's hard to get everybody to work together.
The grassroots end of it is basically we're trying to bring a lot of what we've gotten from our travels and bringing it here to New Mexico so that hopefully some of the younger drifters can get a chance to. So that's what we're trying to give back to our community here in New Mexico. So we've got Drift Day to thank for their help on that. So Drift Day's completely supported our efforts. So mass props.
More large team, more pro involvement in the grassroots level, that would help everything, because that becomes more relatable to the people at the grassroots level. And it helps, build the name for the pro drifters, because then, it's somebody, hey, I know that guy. I saw him, so I'm on TV, I'm going to root for him, I'm going to buy his t-shirts, I think, drifting can set an example in being more approachable.
I think that's why it's got a great grassroots following. It's absolutely approachable. When we first got started, some of the pros that we got involved with were like Taka and Hero and Chris Milano. There's pros out there that totally give their time, and we want to see more of it, because it just adds to the excitement of going out and attending events and being there with quality drivers who can help you.
If you really want to drift at a serious level, you just got to stick with it. It's really how it is with anything, If you want to be really good at it, you got to keep going at it, until you are that good. Especially if you don't, you're not born into a wealthy family or born into a racing family that has all these connections to give to you. You just got to work that much harder.
We love to demo. The reason is you can be more expressive. It's not such a controlled environment. You can, do nose-to-nose donuts with your teammate. You can, design your own course. You can drift, close to walls like I've seen Andy do several times. So yeah, demos. I see drifting as being a launching pad for major demonstrations at the most successful Formula One, NASCAR, Indy, and it's already happening. So those are the demos, that we really want to be part of, and in front of like 250,000 people, and definitely get the word out that NM Drift Group's here. We consider ourselves part of the next generation of drifters, so we want to thank everybody that's supporting us, visits the website, supports us. Amen. Thanks a lot. Number one.
Drifting, the phenomenon, as you guys are documenting in this film, and as the public has got to know it in magazines and whatnot, I was kind of taken over by it, by Import Show Off, Ken Miyoshi, California. it just happened. I mean, it was Falcon Drift Show Off. I've never seen Racer X or Drifter X come out there and just kill it. Reese Millen in an Evo. I went to that event and it blew my mind. And the reason like I was totally taken away is because I've been in this industry since '97, like growing up street racing like in San Diego. And I haven't gotten excited. Like I almost seriously got a tear in my eye because I haven't seen a 25, 26-year-old person get excited about like import motorsports in a long time. And like at Falcon Drift Show Off, like people were freaking out and it was packed. And it just had the vibe of Import Show Off in San Diego, '97. Like when I went to Import Show Off in San Diego, that was the show. Like it was just super sick, super packed. Everybody's like psyched. Now you go to Hunter Nights and it's not about the cars. It's about like the models. It's about like just, you know, sexy this and sexy that. And that just bums me out because it's like Hunter Nights is such an oxymoron of like what we're doing and what they do. They build these rad cars, put all this money into them, put paint into them, do all this. Let's turn off the lights. Like that's just it's a reverse like concept. But then here's drifting. Cars look good. You gotta look good doing it. You get sideways. It's just over the top circus mayhem. And kids were psyched. Kids were freaking out. Parts flying all over. And these JDM dudes, nobody knew them really. And it just caught everybody by storm. It was just sick. It was amazing.
Being a driving instructor and working at a school, you know, year after year, you get really, really bored of driving the track completely straight. You get tired of doing hot laps, so pretty soon you just start throwing the car sideways just to keep yourself entertained and going completely nuts. Well, it just so happens that and this was back in 2001, I had a student from Japan that spoke very, very little English, and he was there for a road racing course. Well, after one of the exercises that we had just completed, I was just screwing around and he was riding in the car with me, and I just threw the car sideways and started going through, you know, several linked turns with the car sideways, and he goes, "Oh, you're a drifter." And I said, "What? What do you mean I'm a drifter?" "No, I have a house that I live at, really." I mean, they don't pay us very well here, but I do actually have a home that I reside in. He's like, "No, you're a drifter." And I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about. I just call it throwing the car sideways, having fun." And he goes, no, this is a sport in Japan. And I said, "Oh my God, well, send me some videos." He goes, "Yeah, I'll send you some option videos and you can check it out." So obviously checked it out and said, "Oh my God, this is where I need to be at."
When I got introduced to Formula D was Ryan Sage and Jim Lau, Slipstream Global Marketing. They did the first D1 here in the US. If it wasn't for Ryan and Jim, I'm saying it right now, drifting would not be as big as it is here in the US, point blank. They saw the foresight to bring D1 here to the States, blew it up. Irwindale's never been the same. Irwindale charges more money for every event there. They're psyched for drifting. Drifting made Irwindale the House of Drift, and that's why it is the House of Drift. Ryan and Jim then saw the foresight to create a North American series that people like Andy Sapp, you know, all these other drifters that are having fun, you know, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Chris Forsberg, Reese Millen, they gave them the format to make a career out of it and have fun, and then to be professional about it. So Ryan and Jim formed Formula D. Ryan and Jim and I go way back. Ryan's like, "Dude, you're like a kind of personality. What do you think about like talking on the microphone?" I was like, "Well, I've never really done it," and kind of gave me a shot at it. So I've grown with Formula D, and you know, like me, hate me, love me, whatever, I'm having fun, and you know, I'll be straight up honest, I don't get paid a lot of money to do it, and but I do a lot outside of the scenes to help grow drivers, grow the sport, grow it properly, have fun doing it, because if you're not having fun, there's no reason to do it at all. So, you know, Ryan and Jim basically gave me an opportunity to kind of grow with the sport, and that's what I've done. I've embraced it wholeheartedly with me working at Meguiar's, penetrating that market and blowing it up to what I think it is, and it's an action sport mixed with motorsport.
What we were thinking when we wanted to do the '69 Camaro, we wanted to exactly do that. Something that didn't have a roadmap, something that was going to be somewhat of a challenge to do, but as a driver, it's always kind of fun to be the underdog, I guess. If you're in the best equipment and the best equipment out there, I don't know if I'd like to say people lose respect for you, but the easier car to drive is like taking the easy way out. Ultimately, you learn more as a driver, developing and making something work. That way, I mean, I hate to say it, but the next car I get into, now that I've had the experience in the 69 Camaro, I've had the experience in, you know, the 240, I've had the experience in the Crown Victoria, I've had, you know, Mustang experience. The more different things that you get to drive, the better. The best advice to start out, get one of the mainstay cars. You know, get a 240, get a Corolla. They're relatively inexpensive. There's plenty of cookbooks of how to make one a good drift car. Don't go out and try to just build a 69 Camaro. It's a lot of money and a lot of time and development. As a driver, that's what I would do. I'd go out and get a 240, get a Corolla, maybe even get even those cars are starting to get pretty pricey. Like next thing to go look at is like an FC and Mazda. And that's probably the best advice I could give somebody starting out in this sport.
The grassroots scene, you know, the daily driver kids are driving S13s with SRs. The kids that are driving FCRX7s, you know, they're aspirational about it. They follow it. They're into it, but they're about their own deal. Are they eager to go compete in Formula D? There's a few that really want to chase it down. It's their dream to really compete against everybody else. You know, Formula D is by the people, for the people. You do really need to support those grassroots guys, especially with all the companies and the you know, need for speed, the sponsors. They need to, you know, Formula D needs to build more involvement and the aspirational factor. It's getting there. I mean, it's good. You know, the Formula D Pro-Am series, getting them involved. There's going to be more kids entering next year. Look at somebody like Ryan Turk, like Hampshire. Like, he's a product of, I want to do it, chase it down, and he's killing it. He's awesome. So there's going to be more people like Ryan Turk coming in.
You guys sacrificed a lot to be out here, so you know we really appreciate the dedication you guys put in, and we feel very honored that you guys are here to try to get our a license for Formula D.
Right now, San Diego's really, really small. I would say out of this meet, there's maybe about 10 people that could drive, 15. There's a lot of guys that come out and try and participate, and that's cool. There's a lot of guys that just build cars and put intercoolers on them to look cool. But San Diego's cool. It just sucks because we lost our venue. Somebody wrecked a 350Z into a tree, so now nobody wants to let us have events. So that's kind of a bummer, but what are you going to do? A lot of good folks down here. Usually end up in LA doing events, but it's a good scene. It's cool. There's not that many people, so everybody knows everybody. Like, there's a lot of import folks down here, but all the real drivers know each other. We keeps it real.
Basically, I was in the Marine Corps, and just like a lot of other people, you end up in Okinawa, Japan. And so what happened is I got over there and had a few buddies. I grew up more into hot rods and stuff like that. Coming from the East Coast, there's a lot more of that around. And so I went to Japan, and I had a buddy with a Skyline, and he said, you want to go for a ride in my Skyline? At that point, I thought the car just looked basically like a regular Japanese kind of grocery getter, and then I heard the turbo spool up. My head hit the back of the seat, and it was over from there. Spent a year in Okinawa, got into it. The drift bug bit me, and then from there got back to the States and started building up my FC. Started doing events, moved out to California. I was tattooing at the time, and so one thing led to another, and here I am, San Diego, having a good time with drifting still. It's a little different in America for obvious reasons. As far as the culture, America's not really a motorsports culture, but for the most part, drifting's still alive and well over here, and it's really blowing up.
I think that the people I really look up to are, guys that are on a budget, that get out there and they're just dedicated, have a good time, and just still kick ass, you know what I mean? Because for a lot of us, if you're not having help, people helping you out with, the cost of what you're doing, it's big time budget stuff. So when you see these guys out there and still progressing and doing well and just, busting their ass and doing whatever they can to make it out, those are the guys that I like to be around, and those are the guys that, continue to, help you have a big smile on your face and do what you do. Pro drivers, they're all great, and everybody probably want to be one, but they're not the guys that I'm around that keep inspiring me to be out there. It's the guys that you're laughing with at the track and have fun with that are doing it for me. So, plus I don't know a lot of pro drivers.
Well, basically we're Team Hinga. We've been around here in San Diego for 4 years now. Our crew originally started out in Okinawa. Basically a bunch of military guys just going out having fun, drifting, doing their thing,
Speed Alliance was started like 2001, 2002 by Dat and Chris. They pretty much just wanted to start a shop and did it. Like, they started online only out of their garage with like a couple of credit cards and just a business license, and they went from that out of their garage to actually getting a storefront after a year or two, and got hooked up with Vertex and Takahiro Ueno through D1. Liked his body kits, liked the product, and sent him a business proposal, and he said, yeah, let's do business. So that's how Speed Alliance ended up as the Vertex distributor for the United States. We try to keep things a little more authentic, a little more upper class, a little more aggressive, a little harder to get or whatever, but that's how we do.
There's a lot of good drivers out here, and there's a lot of drivers out here who are really open to teaching other guys out there. And everybody's just catching up because of how friendly everybody is here. That's what makes everybody better. That's what the driving scene is all about here in California. It's about, the love for driving, not competing, not racing. It's just the love for driving.
The scene out here it's very close. Everybody's very close and good friends, and it's a very tight-knit group. If you're not part of our community, you kind of have to sort of work your way in and get to know everybody. But after that, everybody's very serious about driving. Everybody, will help each other out, but at the same time, we all push ourselves to our max, and if we crash, that's just how it goes.
In the United States, at least, Southern California is really far more developed than any other market I've seen or any area, just because there's so many people here, there's so much access to Japanese influence, Japanese magazines, JDM parts, stuff like that. But it's just the fact that there was a lot of people here who got into drifting, and then they just kind of took it upon themselves to make events.
Now, that's the thing about California. We collect so much talent. You know, people were moving out from the East Coast, people were moving from Hawaii, Japan, and when they come to live out here, you know, they want to get involved, more involved in the drifting. Because there's more events out here.
I think a lot of the companies, if you look at drifting now, like I was talking about, you know, on the corporate level, they did something with Reese. And you know what, I think it's just the D word. I think drifting is just incredibly hot. You know, even for the tour we're putting together for next year, it's like the G35. Even if you build it as a high-end performance, really well-built car, you throw the word drift in front of it, it's like, whoo, you know, so I think the corporate companies, the GM, the Dodges, I think they're starting to take notice.
American drifting scene have evolved much faster than Japanese drifting scene. It wasn't like that for Japanese drifting scene. It took good 10, 15 years to be how big it is right now in Japan. So I thought it was pretty crazy that how quickly drifting scene in the States came up.
Drift Day is really the reason why a lot of the Southern California drivers advanced a lot further than most of the other drivers in the country, because there started being regular, safe, sanctioned events in parking lots or, you know, racetracks or something like that, where people could practice drifting in a safe, controlled environment.
And drifting here in the U.S. is definitely catching up to, you know, Japan in their own pace, not necessarily, you know, fast or slow, but in their own pace. There's a few, you know, people such as Drift Day, Charlie from Just Drift, Drift Buffet, who you know, provide practice for all the drivers here, because a full day of practice definitely pushes everybody's talent to the next level.
Drifting can just be a fun thing, you know. You can go to school and have a $10,000 240 and, you know, drive on the weekends and just have fun and, you know, be the best driver you want to be. But, you know, if you want to become a pro driver or be on a pro team, it takes like a full-on commitment, because you just have to be ready to go everywhere you have to be. You have to make sure your car works. You have to, you know, there's a lot of sacrifice involved really to come out of nowhere to become a pro driver, and it's not easy. And I think people need to realize that, like, you know, if you want to do it, it takes a whole lot of work, and you have to stick with it.
Like we were saying, just gave us a dedication. We just dropped all our stuff. I sold my car, and I took all the money that I had saved up for college, dropped out of college and bought a 350Z with that. Tony ended up buying my car back from the guy I sold it to, and we just kind of made everything happen whenever we had to and got out here.
A few years from now, I hope to be competing on the professional level with hopefully a full ride sponsorship. But at the same time, I want to just make sure I'm still having fun with the sport, because that's really the whole point of this, you know? We all jumped into the sport because it was fun, it was something to go out and do. So I just hope that a few years from now, and I can compete on that level, but still just enjoy myself and not get too worried about making money or competing and, you know, being on the top. Just want to be sure I can have fun.
California. Yeah! We got Slide America. Slide my shit. North America, South America, West, East, whatever. West, Come Monster, bitch. Project 6, bitch. Talk that and this getting pissed cause they still ain't switched. This ain't since they first started to spit. It's ain't since the first verse that I kicked. So I got with a clip that's so sick. Now the world gets lit. You can ask, but you stuck out of luck. Trying to harass, you couldn't get a rise. Believe if you were licking my nuts. Time's ticking now, still stay shut. Whether it's us talking about the stuff we doing and you're doing me duck.
Yo, I find often to keep rappers exhausted. It's unspeakable, the evil that we dropping. Don't even try it, get lost in my vibrance. Even in my absence, I'm loud like a siren. Your day job, cause rappers not hiring. Lyrics clear, conducting mass firing. And it don't pause, we go above laws. You didn't make it, you play the game all
I already told y'all, show call, so be my guest to be the next contestant to flex. It's no shock, you thought you had the whole spotlight till we bum rush the venue in the parking lot. Type of dude that'll intrude in your crew, battling you and the fools who choose to assist you in the feud with no signs. So what you gonna do? We the chosen few, explore minds overshadowing crews. It's illiterates, we keeping it raw. With every bar, spit the sickest you saw. And now you're back to move y'all. It's obvious we got you open, now you hoping for the quote, but we keeping it unspoken. It's illiterates, we keeping it raw. With every bar, spit the sickest you saw. And now you're back to move y'all. It's obvious we got you open, now you hoping for the quote, but we keeping it unspoken. You can't reach this, beat my thesis. I bleed this and leave myself speechless. The proper etiquette, you got what's better than a better sedative to medicate your element. We on focus, know this, got the dopest dosage. Each line will leave your mind frozen. It's all the real with everything that we build. Not music that you hear, it's music you can feel. I've been trying to explain, but it's just no need. Sit back, relax, place a couple sacks of trees. Do your thing the way you do it, then get back to me. I guarantee we doing more than satisfactory. With much more to come, ask me for a sample. Give any of us a mic the type to lead by example. Stampede to get trampled. We stays on top and make moves with no time to waste on top. We walk the walk, no need for speech. We reach peaks from high school jocks to one-legged geeks. You felt the heat when this violence exploded. Blow rappers up because silence is golden. The sickest defense with the illest offense. Leave you like celebrities stuck without no comments. Blow atomic bomb it like a reckless comet. Touch the world with these words, leave them toxic.
Shit, there's a way out. That's a cop. Fuck. Fuck, that's a cop. Hide your shit. Fucking early, dude.
Alright, that was fun.
No, it wasn't. It was fucking yeah, Joey Redmond called it. I was like, hey, we're in Southern California and there's like 40 cars driving down the street. We're gonna go to jail.
I got hot hands.
Now my fingerprints are all over the fucking front. You're running over your... Right there.
Pink at one time. Can you tell?
Gotta support the local scene is where it all happens. Last year was real big. We had events every other week. This year it's kind of gone like, I don't know, like the track we normally go to kind of shut us out. But they're starting to get back in with them. I've done me and Sonny and Xander have done a couple demos there. Kind of got a good name with them, so we're starting to hold more events.
Drifting up here, I met these guys through Night Drift, and they had these Toge Tuesday nights, and they invited me out one night and came out, and that was my first time doing it. But for drifting, I used to be into MR2s and be all into the 4AG motors, and then I picked up an 86 Corolla, and I just started messing around with that, like in the industrial parks around my house. And then we started, I started doing night drift events out at Altamont. It's like 5 minutes away from my house. And then I got a S13, and ever since then.
First car I ever bought was '89 Nissan 240SX. I started out autocrossing and just ran into a couple friends that were into the whole drift scene and kind of built my car for that. And started out messing around at autocross events, and then found out about these roads up here. Eventually found some more people to come up with me, like George, Sonny, a bunch of other people. And yeah, just started playing up here almost every weeknight.
Usually Toge Tuesday was our thing. Like, we used to come up randomly all the time and do it in the rain with our single overheads and just kind of have fun. And we progressed from like doing uphill to downhill to doing this, and was chasing Xander for a while, trying to catch up with him, and just having fun, and started doing night drift, and that's how we end up right now.
Where do you want to go? Like, is this just for fun? Are you planning to try and...
I'm trying to go all the way with it.
Formula D?
Yes.
D1?
Yes.
How soon?
After this Pro-Am event in like 2 weeks, hopefully I'll go to the Nationals, and then I'll get my license, and then 07 I'll try to get a ride from somebody, get a sponsor somewhere, and then compete in 07, try to make it big.
Hey, remember what you did last time? I know. Don't kill no one.
It made you wet? I was having an orgasm in the car. I swear to God, you can check.
Let me say, yeah. Quick, somebody click the bell. Andy right here will agree with me. Girls like it when we do it sideways. It's
You have better. Let's get this thing out of this fucking road, dude.
Try. Formula D started after we had an opportunity to bring over the first D1 event to the U.S. And after the success of that event, felt their need to help grow the American drivers and talent that was here. And so the fall of 2003, we announced the launch of Formula D and a 4-event championship series to start in the year 2004.
Yeah, I think the primary, or one of the primary goals is that, you know, you have to be in a high caliber competitive environment for a driver to push themselves or to push each other to get better. And, you know, seeing that the response for that event was so good that, you know, from a driver standpoint, from sponsor standpoint, from fans, everybody just wanted to see more of it. And so, you know, we created Formula D to be something, you know, homegrown. That's drivers that either, you know, reside here or come here often, driving cars, you know, getting sponsors that are all based here. So something that's relevant, you know, cars that you can buy in the showroom or on the used car lot, you know, tires that you can buy in the stores, parts, whatever it is that you can get here.
Last December, I was the first American to win the USA versus Japan D1 versus basically USA drivers is what it really boils down to. And, you know, that event was just absolutely amazing. I mean, for me personally, it was absolutely amazing, but that was there's a whole larger picture to that, and it just made a huge statement for American drifting. You know, the Japanese have been coming over for 3 years and just making us look silly. It had been said that, you know, it'd take us another 3 to 5 years to catch up to the Japanese, and that event just basically went to show that, you know, 3 to 5 years can come real fast when you're as passionate and have as much heart as we as Americans do. And you know, it also goes to show that, you know, with enough heart, dedication, and practice, you know, anything can happen.
I mean, I think we all initially kind of believed in drifting as a sport, and, you know, our idea of Formula D is to kind of take what we felt and thought was appealing about drifting and kind of take it to, you know, to a level that a lot of eyeballs can see. And, you know, it's obviously been an evolution ever since we started. We've been growing every single year, and, you know, we want to keep consistently doing that year after year after year, and take the drivers that are involved and the sponsors that are involved to a level to where, you know, they can really be excited about where the sport has come from and where it is at that current point. So I think there's still a lot to be done, at least in our eyes. There's a whole lot more that we'd like to do, but I think, you know, as far as exceeding everybody's expectations to this point, it's definitely done that.
It really comes a point where you realize, like, man, this has to be my life. It has to be 100%, or you just have to walk away from it. And it's that kind of dedication and that kind of heart and love and passion for something that really makes you realize how much you want it. And, you know, all the guys that are up here at the top professional level, they're guys that wanted it, and they're guys that went for it. And, you know, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of, you know, it's a matter of not going over your girl's house after work and going and jumping in your car and going and practicing. It's a matter of skipping out on the bar with your boys and going out and practicing. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just a huge amount of dedication.
The diversity of the things, you know, drivers with different backgrounds. Some are traditionally trained, you know, stunt drivers or rally car drivers. Others are just your homegrown grassroots, you know, drifting on up. And they're driving different cars. They're driving the most diverse field of cars is here. Nowhere else in the world. Not in Japan, not in Europe, not in Australia. We have, you know, more makes, more models, new, old, everything. And that coupled with the different drivers, it's just going to add to this, you know, whole spectrum of different things that are going on.
Still having fun, still enjoying putting on shows, and, you most of all, I really love that I can still just drop into grassroots events and have a lot of fun with them as well. I love going out to Jersey and helping a lot of the local drivers and places where that are the reason why I was able to come up and do what I've done. I totally enjoy going back and having fun. There's a great atmosphere here at Formula D events and at professional level events, but you don't ever get the true feeling of what drifting is until you're at a grassroots level event and see the camaraderie and the love and the fun that everybody has for each other.
I like to just go out and have fun. I hate all the politics involved and all that stuff, but I mean, drifting's drifting. I like to go out and compete against the best, and that's where we are right now in America anyways.
We're just very excited to see what the future brings. We're not going anywhere, and we're going to continue following our hearts and doing what we do best.
So I was like confused because like I didn't know Slide America was going to be a DVD about drifting, Like I think, in fact, most of your sponsors, because of the name, thought that you guys were going to do a documentary on different kinds of slides around the United States. And you'd be like driving all over the place, hitting up parks and shit.
Stuff that you're going to be able to use as like a motherfucking montage.
Okay.
Alright. Seriously, people do some really dumb shit when you put a camera in front of them. That's it. That's all I gotta say. So.
I'm like, ping, tong, 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 ping.
See, we think drifting is cooler than cooking because that's what we live for, right? Yeah. If you are into cooking, they don't think drifting I know shit. They think like fucking frying pan, the fucking cooking pancakes are the shit. They don't fucking care about the fucking smoke coming out from your Hachiroku's rear tires, right?
Well, they don't know shit.
Yes, they don't. That's why we are in drifting, not in cooking, motherfuckers.
The dog has a tongue.
What the fuck, Charles? With Area 51, you need to leave.
What? What up? We still in this van?
Yeah, it's like day 6,422. We have 9,732 miles. Our van, we're about to enter the great state of Origami.
This commercial break brought to you by Rockstar Energy Drink. Party like a rock star.
San Dimas High School football rules.
This is a mute. Neil! Nobody they've interviewed has talked as a mute. Not one person.
At this point, we're pretty much losing our minds. Try living in a van for a month with 2 dudes.
I don't know what day it is.
That's hella close. Like,
How close?
seems like you could just see one eye. Hi, I'm Lisa Fleming.
And I'm Jenny Chu.
Hey, it's smoking the family.
We gotta watch out for Nick Hogan next year, bro. Yeah, he's like, if his dad's there, like, he'll totally kick our asses off the track.
I'll tell you what, brother.
Hey there, brother.
What are you gonna do when those 17-inch folks come looking for you, brother? Oh yeah. Oh, you better stop to the Slim Jim. Oh, hey, Rod.
So that's it. Made this book. Drifting. Because we didn't want to call it figure skating.
This is what I look at back here forever.
No cameras? No cameras in Area 51. No. $4.99.
Who's Mike Peters? Mike Peters, that nigga you know, man, that redneck out from Texas, dude.
Here's the thing. You can run the faggot narrow line and be the faggot, but the gangsters are gonna be out there on the wall.
Slide, Army.
Slide what? Slide America, right? What the fuck should I say? Okay, Slide America. I don't know much about Slide America.
Hello, are you sleeping? Joey? Oh, dude, I see your boobs. I could feel them. Fortune, look.
It's cold. Lisa, warm me up.
So we're corn
with a bungee cord. My ass. It's not supposed to make sense.
We'd like to thank the St. Spas for allowing us. Actually, they sponsored this to us after seeing Reese and Tanner
in his giant mansion, you know, in Dai's blog.
No, Aki, come on. Really? I mean, Jared's like, no, he's like good, man. like no, for me to poop on.
Don't zoom in on that.
What did you say? The battery's about to die? Our chief documentary crew. You just got it like 10 minutes ago. Why is your battery dying? Fucked around a lot when I got my license. Got a lot of tickets. Lost my license like 4 times. And then I started coming here, so it's a lot easier.
Drifting, it's cool. Shit, one thing I just realized. Felt like I was on a spaceship. Felt like I was flying. Everything was all right.
Still got it.
Why do you have balls on your neck? They're not balls, they're the ashes of my father. When he died, I had him cremated and turned into these balls around my neck. No, I never take them off.
You can't see it on TV forever or now.
Slide America is the shit. Good shit. You guys are the bomb for making this on your own, privately funded. That's what real drifting is all about. Dope shit.